You've got to mount a big comeback here in the second half, and that just really takes the wind out of your sails when you go 3 and out right off the get-go and kind of go, here we go again.
Off with the punt to Spielman, always dangerous on the return. Breaks through a couple of tackles, good blocking as well, and is inside the Edina 25-yard line, a return of about 22.
That was an interesting kind of floating knuckleball of a punt, but Spielman did a nice job of staying with it, and another nice return for him, and sets him up inside the 25, almost in the red zone here right out of the gate, and this is probably going to get ugly here pretty soon.
Yeah,
we might be twiddling our thumbs a little bit here in the fourth quarter, I have a feeling.
Might be testing ourselves on our roster depth coming up.
Oh, I'll definitely be tested. Hetherington cuts it back up the middle across the left hash marks, and in the red zone now at the 18-yard line, a gain of 5 for the senior fullback. Had 18 yards rushing last week. So far tonight, about 39 on 11 carries. So the yards per carry so far in this game and in the season thus far for Eden Prairie, not quite as high as what we've seen the past couple of years, but still, moving the chains, getting the first downs, moving the ball down the field, and finishing off drives with touchdowns, and that's all you really can ask for. Gain of 4 that time for Hetherington. If you go back to, Brett, when we had that stoppage, the lightning delay and that 38-20 victory, Eden Prairie over to Tino Grace, the Eagles' first team defense has not allowed any points, and the offense has outscored the opponent by a score of 45-0. The lone touchdown coming the last play of the game to Tino Grace against Eden Prairie's backups, got an 89-yard touchdown run. Other than that, nothing.
We were joking when Tino Grace scored that last touchdown. I think they snapped the ball with 1 second when everyone assumed the game was going to end, and they scored that long TD. So it's been a great defensive effort all season long by EP, making adjustments, especially after the first few drives of each of these games they've played so far.
Now reverse to Coughlin, a big stiff arm, still on his feet, and dives to the 5. Man, that's got to be rough living for number 5 out there for Edina.
Yeah.
It's like a wrestling move to bring him down.
Yeah, you don't want to be tackling a guy like him. Oof. You want to get your bell rung a little bit.
This goes down as a gain of 2, but the defensive player's going to remember that play for a real long time, I'm guessing. Hetherington up the middle, able to find some space before it's squeezed closed. The tackle made by Pericles Angelos, sophomore linebacker. Edina does have a fair number of younger players on their squad, especially on the defensive side. A couple of starters, underclassmen, and on the offensive side as well. Their right tackle, in fact, didn't notice this earlier, but worth noting, Quinn Carroll is just a freshman.
Wow.
Hetherington, a block, and he's easily in, almost like he was going to run into the band.
I just saw that same thing. He looked like he was just, once he gets going, he's just going to keep running. He sees green grass in front of him, he's just going to keep chewing it up.
You got to have the old Forrest Gump thing.
Stop.
Stop.
Yeah, the stop sign.
Yeah.
Another touchdown for the fullback, and it's a 4-score lead for Eden Prairie.
Stop, Alec. They need to make that sign.
Yep.
For the band's sake.
Yes. It's about to put a dent in one of those tubas down there.
Montero's kick pushed just in the inside of the left upright to make it 28-0 Eden Prairie over Edina. You're watching PSB Media.
Great food and great sports. It's the Tavern on 4 and 5 in Eden Prairie. This season, the Tavern on 4 and 5 will be showing PSB broadcasts of Eden Prairie football and hockey on their big screen TVs. So make it a night out. Get some great food while watching your Eden Prairie Eagles at the Tavern on 4 and 5. Some of their classics include the Mediterranean Pizza, Tavern Turkey Burger, as well as delicious breakfasts that are served 7 days a week. That's the Tavern on 4 and 5, just blocks from Eden Prairie High School.
We try to save our best stuff for off.
Second touchdown of the night by Alec Hetherington. He's got 4 on the season. Maybe hoping to eclipse the number of touchdowns scored by Will Raines last season. Think that's possible? He had 38 total touchdowns, 33 rushing.
That's quite a few.
Yeah, it is.
It's got a little ways to go.
It's a lot of fantasy points.
So that was about 3 a game. I guess Hetherington's already behind the ball then. And this one bobbled out of play. Flag flies.
Wait a minute.
Maybe it bounced out of bounds at first. Maybe that's what the referees are discussing.
Yeah, he's waving it off. That was an errant flag.
It was.
Yeah, it bounced right off the hands of the receiver there.
Yeah,
that's just what you don't want to bounce it out of bounds on your own 10 when you're down 28-0. That's there's a play that's reminiscent of that Wayzata game right there.
Exactly.
See if they...
I think the sideline official was just trying to give Edina the benefit of the doubt. It's like, maybe that bounced out of bounds. I'm hoping the best for you guys.
Courtesy
flag. So inside their own 10 following a kickoff. Quick hitter to the outside and broken up and stopped in his tracks as Parker Rickert by J.D. Spielman.
We were talking about during the break how the defense for Eden Prairie just seems improved so much from last year, and they're just not giving up any room anywhere. Although some of us were noticing maybe some places where you could beat them, but we can talk about that as the broadcast goes on.
Brock Boltman's really struggled tonight in terms of his efficiency. 3 for 10, 16 yards passing. As the carry goes to Doma Morris, who was on the team last year that finished 2-7. Had about 25 carries last season. Had 12 last week and 2 touchdowns. Hasn't been involved too much so far in this game, but when you're a power runner and your team's down 28-0, you're probably not going to get too much of workload. Gain 2 there.
They may have said they lined up in the neutral zone, possibly. That's what I heard some people talking about here in the press box, as they'll move the ball up.
Well, that's a rare mistake tonight for Eden Prairie. A couple penalties mentioned on that opening series for the offense, but I think that's the first penalty on the defense thus far tonight. Looking a lot more sharp this week, as you'd expect, than last week where they were penalized a whole lot more. Teams didn't have a whole lot of a preseason to work with as Jermaine Johnson gets into the backfield yet again. He, along with, looks like number 86 for Witherspoon, Clayton Witherspoon, or maybe, no, 96, check that. So Quinn Coughlin and Johnson in on the half sack each.
Yeah, that's another call I just didn't really like right there, running trips into the boundary. Of course, in high school, you've got the wider hashes, so a lot closer to the sideline than in the college or the professional game, where you just don't have a whole lot of room. You got 3 receivers on that side, and then you roll to that side. It just gets too clustered, and you saw that happen right there where the field just closed down, and they came up with the sack.
4th down and 6, and Boltman will punt it away. A wobbler. Bounces across midfield and is down just across the 45 by this Hornets special teams unit. So Eden Prairie a chance to go up by 5 scores. They've cruised and scored on the last, or 2 of their last 3 possessions. I guess halftime interfered with one of their opportunities. But this offense is starting to gel, and the defense has been in late season form here tonight, and it's really been to the detriment, obviously, to Edina. Hetherington powers his way across the 50, pushes ahead to the 48. 3 players, takes 3 Hornets players to bring down the senior.
Have a message from Jerome, who's tuning into the broadcast from Cass Lake, about 20 miles east of Bemidji, not making us pull out a map to try to figure out where that is. He's tuning into the broadcast. Again, if you'd like to email us, announcers@psbmn.com, or just click that link below your game tracker screen.
Zog handoff to TJ Conrad, fights through one tackle and is stonewalled at the line of scrimmage. Conrad, starting tailback to begin this season, had a bit of a rough varsity debut last week. 6 carries, 11 yards, and a fumble. For the fumble, Connor Novak Gore bailed him out. It was a goal line carry that he lost in the end zone. And his teammate D-tackle in as an extra blocker on the goal line formation ended up jumping on it for his first career touchdown. 3rd down and 2 following no gain. Hetherington has some space, wiggles through, still on his feet. Anthony Anderson-like run there to the 35.
Very good comparison. He just does not go down on first contact.
It's the 17th carry of the night. It's been the Hetherington show since the start of the second quarter. That's actually when he got his first carry of the night.
You had better have a swarming defense when he gets the ball. It certainly does not take one guy to bring him down. He takes a lot more than that.
Zog will hand it off. Spielman cuts into the open field. There he goes. 15, 10, 5, end zone. J.D. Spielman, 35-yard scamper to pay dirt.
Well, he made that look easy. That was a casual trot into the end zone right there. Made a couple of nice moves at the line of scrimmage, ran through an arm tackle, and just scooted right into the end zone easily on that play.
A home run is hit again by Spielman. This time it'll hold up. Had a 70-plus yard touchdown run called back on a teammate illegally blocked in the back. And Eden Prairie started to rout the Hornets 35-0 following Montero's pure try. As you're watching PSB, we'll see if Edina has any sort of offense in the near future with 3:31 to play. That'll come up after this.
Dudes, yeah, been a couple of A-plus roommates. And I hate to do this because you guys have been cool with everything. You're cool with my band. You're cool with that English accent phase, remember that?
We're literally out to milk.
And that theater troupe.
Hey, down, up, hey, could you give me a second, please?
But State Farm's helped me be really smart with my money, and I got my own pet now. Oh, no big deal, Mom, Dad. My new place doesn't allow pets. Dylan's gonna have to stay here. One love, Pops.
Start out right in life. With everything from renter's insurance to your first bank account, State Farm is there.
Shop and save with Brandy Warmbier State Farm Insurance Office in Eden Prairie. A local connection at a lower cost. BrandyWarmbier.com.
J.D. Spielman from 35 yards out makes it 35-0. Eden Prairie over Edina, as the Hornets have just been stymied. Another kickoff, great leg strength by Antonio Montero. Played varsity last year. Also the soccer player for the Eagles. Sets up the Hornets at their own 20-yard line. In the first half, the Hornets were able to move the football and, spent most of the first quarter in Eden Prairie territory, but couldn't convert. Some questionable play calling and lack of execution as well in the red zone. Forced them 4 and out, turn it over on downs. And here in the second half and even the second quarter, really nothing to speak of on the offensive end.
I don't know what you guys say as a coach if you're Edina to get some energy on your team. We've kind of been noticing there just hasn't really been a lot of any positive energy coming out of the Edina sideline. Someone's got to get their guys fired up out there.
Mountain Dew kickstart, maybe?
That's right, yeah.
Some caffeine. Eden Prairie, clearly a tough place to play. And great turnout, really, on both sides. Commend everybody for coming out. But at the same time, you still got to make the plays and execute and try to keep that hyper focus. And it seems like Edina may be overtaken by just the power and the execution ability of the Eagles, thrown them a little bit in the confidence department.
Well, after this play, I want to go back to one that I think kind of hurt Edina's momentum. Well, maybe we'll do it here. Yeah, as soon as they're done audibling into a new set.
3rd down and 6. And not going anywhere on that play. Trying to snake his way through the defense. A.J. Nelson, his first carry. Did a lot of running and gained maybe a yard.
I was going to comment that even though this play didn't count on the score sheet, it just kind of feels like that long Spielman run in the first half that was called back because of a block in the back really seemed to take the wind out of Edina's sails.
I would maybe argue it was a bit earlier than that. It was their failed efforts inside the 10-yard line.
Yeah, that too.
The play calling, and then just seemed like there wasn't quite the same energy thereafter. There's a first down. Nice look. Little hook to the outside and turns around, faces, squares his shoulders to his quarterback. Nice, easy throw. A nice job positioning himself as number 17 to make the catch, Noah Kraft.
See, they should be snapping the ball right now before they even get a chance to get set on defense.
The run goes to Stewart. Haven't called his name much in this second half. $1.25 to play in the 3rd.
So you're kind of thinking the hurry-up offense is the way to maybe get to Eden Prairie here and get them before they get organized defensively.
Well, I think, yeah, at least you can keep them on their heels that way. And, you know, when you've got a spread attack like that, that can really be an advantage. You can really catch a team off guard with your tempo. And if they can't set up and adjust and you can keep changing formations on them and they have to keep trying to adjust to that, that can make it really tough. Guys will start getting confused and you just keep coming at them so fast that they will eventually slip up and leave a guy open.
Well, we've got a quarterback, number 4, that likes to sling the football and maybe break his receiver's fingers. Does that remind you of anybody? Brett Favre way back when?
Oh, for sure.
I was thinking Christian
Seen
Ponder.
that.
Oh, yeah. A nice touch pass, but a better job batting it down. Nice coverage there by Aressman, moving from his linebacker position and getting a piece of that ball.
Well, Eden Prairie's front 4 has done a nice job of putting pressure on the quarterback tonight, making him hurry some of his throws where maybe he's got a guy open, but just that pressure causes him to rush his throw a little bit and can't quite put it where he wants to.
4 wide receivers set for Boltman. Ball is snapped, looking downfield. Overshoots his target, who takes a big hit from Lundy as he's pushed out of bounds. That was 4th down, so the Eagles get the football back on the Hornets side of the field. Some positives to take away, but not able to sustain yet another drive. Brett?
I have a message from Steve. He's watching from Nazareth, Pennsylvania. Great coverage tonight, guys. I think that's our furthest east listener we've had so far tonight.
Okay. So nobody in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean.
Well, it could be in western Pennsylvania.
I know. You mean western New York, maybe?
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Nazareth could be in the western side of Pennsylvania, so you could still have people listening east of there.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I was just trying to pick somewhere that was goofy as opposed to logical.
You're just trying to troll me up there.
I was just trying to pick something goofy. Zog over the top, and pass interference called as Connolly, who was trying to make a diving play, got tripped up by the safety help.
Well, that's one way to stop him from catching it. But yeah, he was able to get behind the defense again, and even though the pass was a little high, he had a chance to bring in another big catch.
Yeah, for sure, and the safety didn't even look back at the ball there. And given the success they've had with that tonight so far, you're almost better off on defense just taking that 15-yard penalty since it's not a spot foul in high school, and you can just, You know, it's obviously better to take that than to give up another touchdown.
I think we would all agree with that. Any dissenters? Brett?
I'm not going to troll
Devil's
you
advocate.
like you trolled me. Nope.
You're not in the middle of the Atlantic complaining about what Grant said?
Not talking to
This
a
is
beach
just
ball
getting
named
goofy.
Wilson. Yep.
That's what usually happens when I'm in any conversation after a while.
Kind of happen too when you get a bit of a lopsided
There's
game.
the quarter.
Hetherington brings it inside the 15 as the third quarter comes to a close. Eden Prairie scores twice more and takes a 35-0 lead, so we'll have running time to begin the fourth quarter. You're watching PSB.
Stream your games in HD like the pros. Have a game you want streamed? PSB is here to help. PSB offers its HD streaming services to meet your request, whether you want one game, a tournament, or even an entire season's worth of games live streamed. Every broadcast features professional play-by-play announcers, instant replay, on-screen graphics, multiple camera angles, and much more. Plus, you can even make money from broadcasting. By having PSB stream your games, you create an opportunity to bring in additional revenue to your team or booster club. You can make money from pay-per-view broadcasts, DVD and digital download sales of the broadcasts, and even control of the advertising space on the broadcasts. So what are you waiting for? Get your team on air and stream in HD like the pros. Contact production at psbmn.com to get started today.
Welcome back to Erie Stadium, home opener rather, for Eden Prairie, as they're taking on former Lake Conference rival and now District West rival Edina. The Hornets, coming in with high hopes, have really been pushed flat by this power defense and power running game, and mixing it in, Zog to Kyle Connolly for over 100 yards through the air as well. Handoff goes to the up back for a gain of about 1 as TJ Conrad is able to fall forward. So brings up 3rd down and 4.
We were commenting during the break, I think this is about the first time all game the ball's been on the right side of your computer screen, or if you're watching on a tablet or phone, on the right side. The ball's been to the left the whole game. Just kind of weird.
We're testing out our cameraman Nolan's abilities to look right now.
Yeah.
He's doing a good job. Hetherington still on his feet. Bulldozes his way inside the 1.
Couldn't quite get there.
Pickup of about 14 for the fullback.
What do you want to bet he carries it here?
Yeah.
I'll bet an ice cream sandwich he does.
Okay. Oh, wait.
So who's the one that's
You
going
got
to lose
me.
in this bet? Yeah. Well,
It's
they're
a-
going to pass it here
It's
now.
a Yosarian catch-22 because we both bet the same
okay.
thing.
Oh,
And
what do
there
you
he
know?
goes. So, do you get the ice cream sandwich or do I?
I think we both do.
Okay.
You buy one and split it.
Is
then.
there a vendor
Oh,
down
yeah.
that sells one?
I don't think so.
Darn it. 3rd touchdown of the night for Hetherington.
So was Edina the last team to beat Eden Prairie in 2012? Wayzata beat them first, and then I know they had those back-to-back
Yeah,
losses.
it
Was that Eden? Was that Edina and then Wayzata, or Wayzata and then Edina? I know they had back-to-back home field.
Wayzata that won the last game.
Okay.
It was 9-7, and I want to say that was after the Edina game.
Okay.
Either way, they're only one of 2 teams to beat Eden Prairie over the past 5 years.
Right.
Blocked extra point by that 305-pounder. Raises his hands and celebrates. Again, that's Stephen Apsland. So a little bit of an odd score now on the board. 41-0. Still Eden Prairie in control and cruising. You're watching PSB.
I really loved this book. Me too. What was your favorite part? The beginning? The beginning was good. Did anyone actually read the book?
I really like this wine.
You don't need a book club to drink wine with friends. Great wine and globally inspired food at Noodles & Company, your world kitchen.
If you're enjoying tonight's football game from the comfort of your own home, why not go out next week and get some great food and also watch Eden Prairie football? The Tavern on 4 and 5 will be showing PSB's broadcasts of Eden Prairie football on the big screen, so check it out. It's the Tavern on 4 and 5.
Going right into the up back again. Maybe we should play shortstop, the way he can gobble up those footballs. Same guy makes the play at the 46-yard line.
That takes some reaction time looking at this on the replay.
He's got cat-like reflexes.
That might be the most impressive kick reception I've seen in some time. That was a rocket.
Well, he's got to be aware the first time. I wonder if he even knew, the scouting reporter, if it was a possibility that the ball could be kicked right at him, because he gobbled that one up too. Here, and maybe the anticipation slightly faster. Still impressive as Boltman experiences an impressive takedown by number 34, Ben Fisher, senior defensive back in the game. As we're seeing a couple of different personnel now in the ball game for Mike Grant.
It's a nice tackle too. Boltman had about at least 6 or 7 yards to work with if he had been able to avoid that tackle.
Boltman really held in check, had over 130 rushing last week, has about 10 so far tonight. Of course, sacks counting against his rushing total, but not able to get traction. I'd like to pass on a statistical highlight. Assuming the score stays the same, Mike Grant will win his 300th career game over his entire coaching career. 257 of those 300 would have been and are with the Eden Prairie Eagles.
Well, I'm just going to say, some other media outlets said last week was his 300th win. So.
Oh, did they?
But you might be right as well. I'm not sure.
I did my math. I've been keeping track the last 3 years, but I guess there's human error possible in there. Either way, very impressive career.
Who's really counting anymore, you know?
I guess I should stop. Since if I'm off by one, it's meaningless at this point. His winning percentage at Eden Prairie, about 92%.
That might be the more impressive stat.
So essentially he averages 1 loss per season. And now, of course, over the last 2, 0. But 4th down and 10 from the 46. Set up the screen pass and doesn't get any blocker help. Snuffed out nicely by Aressman. And Stewart gains 1.
Gotta mention here, it just seems like the defense has not missed any tackles over the past 2 or 3 quarters in this game.
Oh, you're right, Brett. They're very fundamentally sound. You can tell these kids have been drilled in blocking and tackling, I think, since they were just out of diapers. So they're really showing that here.
I can't recall 2, maybe 3 missed tackles in the game by their defense, if that.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Well, see, now you'd have to get the ultimate matchup of the defense trying to tackle a guy like Alec Hetherington or J.D. Spielman. You probably don't get to see that in practice. It's typically Mike Grant doesn't have contact practices, but that would be an interesting matchup to watch. This offense play their defense.
Well, then where would Spielman play since he's a two-way player?
Well, you could clone him.
Just bring back Ronnie or what? Or are we
I don't know what you do
at
there.
Eden Prairie, in addition to their fine academia, fine arts, and athletics, they have a good research lab or something? Working on a clone?
You could maybe have them trade off plays, one on the offense, one on the defense.
Question is, if you could clone J.D. Spielman, let's say in 6 months, would he be eligible, one of them, to stay here and play at Eden Prairie next season?
This is just getting weird.
I don't know.
Or they both have to graduate. Grant, you're too confused to even provide a response.
I don't know what to say. I'm speechless.
Jackson Randall, the handoff. Nice run by T.J. Conrad, his best as a member of the varsity squad. Gains 10 and gets down to the 30-yard line.
The original point, though, it would be an interesting matchup, though, because As I said, they don't usually practice with contact, so you don't get a chance to see their first team offense play their first team defense. Kind of wonder too if a lot of other high schools in Minnesota have kind of gone that route as well, where they limit their contact in practice.
Yeah, not sure. Nice move again, slipping underneath an arm tackle by a defensive lineman. Conrad spills forward to the 26-yard line. 3 carries, about 16 yards, or 4 carries, check that, for about 16 yards tonight. This game brought to you by Brandy Warmbier, State Farm Insurance Agents. Get the best coverage on home, auto, or even consider bundling your insurance with Brandy Warmbier, again, of State Farm. It's on Singletree Lane in Eden Prairie.
Also, don't forget, if you have an event you would like streamed, you can contact us here at PSB Media. It doesn't have to be sports. It can be a corporate event, maybe a webinar, wedding, anything. We can stream it live in HD. Contact us at psbmn.com, or maybe you're a high school football team and want some of your games streamed. Go ahead and give us a call.
Well, to your point, tomorrow we're doing our first wedding, so...
Live stream wedding?
Yeah.
Wow.
So...
That's wild.
Tune in. Check it out.
Too many of those. It's not yours.
No, it's not.
Oh, okay.
I'm doing filming. It'd be really awkward if I was the groom.
Yeah.
And
that would be.
Trying to film myself. Hey, smile for the big selfie camera. They need to create a selfie video camera.
Oh, I could be in your headset saying your Zoom is too far, Kevin.
Yeah.
You're trying to say your vows, yes.
The Eagles turn it over on downs as Burns is stuffed in the backfield.
But again, contact information, you can see some of the samples of our work. Go to that Request Us part of our website on psbmn.com. Love to hear from you. Especially during playoff time, we'd love to stream some of your playoff games with video, since usually in 6A they don't allow streaming of playoff games, but I know in some of the lower classes they do allow streaming of high school football playoff games in Minnesota.
Quick out. Caught by number 81 for a short gain, Jimmy Connell. And for Connell, his first catch of the season. Anderson with the stop. And Eden Prairie will be taking on Hopkins next week. Maple Grove hosts Edina. And what the Hornets hope is a bounce-back game. Maple Grove losing last week to Osseo. Always have a tough time with Osseo, but seem to take care of business pretty much everywhere else.
Yeah, and Edina's got to be ready to play, because in this new West Metro South District, there is not an easy game in that sub-district. It's basically the 5 Lake Conference teams, but now you add in good teams like Prairie Lake and Maple Grove. That is just a brutal schedule and a brutal sub-district.
Rickert with a short catch. As Edina a little bit hurry-up mode inside of 5 minutes to play, and just quick hitters to the flats, that time to the middle. Boltman improving his completion percentage, now goes down the field and a drop.
Oh, no.
Beautifully placed over the top of flag in the backfield, but the receiver unable to come down with it.
That was a well-designed pass play, getting behind the defense, and you got a feel for the kid. Would have been 6.
Max Thomas, that's his 3rd dramatic drop of this game. That one would have been 6. It was a penalty on the Eagles. So had he been able to secure it, the Hornets would have been on the board.
That's one of those things, if you're a football player and a wide receiver, it's kind of one of those things where you just want to forget the week and move on to the next one. Yeah, he's had some tough plays in this game.
Super glue next week.
That's right.
Boltman keeps it himself and will dance across the 40. Gains about 6. The new deals page on our website, psbmn.com/deals.html. If you go there, you can get discounts on Noodles and Company coupons. Get bowls and a drink up to $10 value for under $6. Just order it online and fill out the information, and we can deliver them right to you. It's Noodles and Company deals. 3rd down and 5. Boltman in the shotgun, as he's been almost the entire night, and a flag before the snap. Running clock inside of 3:30 to play, and I guess I take that back. Now they stop the clock.
If you're watching on High School Cube tonight, you can tune into every Eden Prairie game on PSBMN.com, another outlet we stream to. That one's not an HD feed, so if you are on High School Cube and want to watch the HD feed of the game, you can go to PSBMN.com. Tune into all of the EP broadcasts, at least of the regular season, and maybe even some playoff games, depending on how the State High School League runs the playoffs. A little different this year since there's no more sections in Class 6A.
Quick hitter, good blocked on the near side, and the catch is made by number 23, A.J. Nelson, pushed out of bounds at the 23. Gain of 11. It's the 3rd longest play from scrimmage tonight for Edina.
Wow. That's rough.
That's a stat. Wow, that says a lot about the defense, too.
There's that spot.
Completion inside the 10-yard line, so Nelson, an active participant on this drive. And the Hornets inside Eden Prairie's 10-yard line, trying to end this shutout.
You were kind of saying, Grant, that might be one of their spots to attack the Eden Prairie defense, at least for maybe some future opponents.
Yeah, well, I don't want to give them the scouting report, but
Rickert.
This is, of course, their 2nd-string defense at this point. That plays a role.
Rickert bullies his way into the end zone, and looks like Carlson, was once vying for the starting quarterback job, was in playing some defensive end on that series.
Yeah, good blocks out there on that right side, and did a good job to fall forward into the end zone and at least get something for Edina to feel better about themselves. Get those 7 points.
The kick is converted by Julian Rambos, and a score 41-7. We'll come back after this on PSB.
Woohoo! This is the best dirt bath ever!
Larry, what's with all that racket?
I'm loving my new digs. This compost is amazing. Come on in, give it a try.
What are you talking about? Oh yeah, you weren't kidding, Larry. This stuff is great.
The Mulch Store has compost your garden, and yes, even the worms will love. Stop by any of the Mulch Store locations in Burnsville, Minnetrista, Rosemount, and Shakopee to pick up the best compost in the Midwest. Online at mulchstoremn.com. Also shop rocks, seed, soil, edging, and more. Now's the time to make your neighbors green with envy.
Store locations in Burnsville, Minnetrista, Rosemount, and Shakopee.
Kevin Ford, Brett Johnson, Dr. Grant Norland with your call tonight from Aries Stadium. Eden Prairie well on its way to victory number 32 in a row. Coach Grant's presumably 300th career victory. Maybe that happened last week, maybe not. Either way, outstanding job coaching these players year in and year out. And a nice performance by his team on all sides of the football and all aspects of the game. Well played as far as few penalties, few missed tackles, and putting those points on the board offensively. 41-7 is your score. As back to receive are the Eagles, looking for a lane, returning it up to the near side, and pushed out of bounds is Graham Teal, one of the many running backs on this Eagles squad. Don't have any repeat numbers going up to 99 this year, so a bit smaller of a roster than Eagles teams we've seen in the past, but still plenty to choose from.
This game's got to serve notice going forward to the rest of the state. These are two very impressive opponents that Eden Prairie's beaten. They are going to face some other tough teams in their sub-district. Prior Lake is one of those teams that could maybe give them some trouble. But it's going to be tough. They look awfully impressive this evening, and certainly are clicking on all cylinders.
Talamantes gets out into space and crosses midfield. Gains about 27 on that run.
Yeah, that was an awfully big hole to run through right there. As they say, you could have driven a truck through that one, I think.
Or a John Madden ambulance.
Yes, that too.
Back in the old Madden games. And the ambulance out onto the field. Talamantes not as productive that time. Still falls forward for a gain of 3. Couple more plays for the offense to run. And that should do it. Coming up, our post-game show brought to you by the Sun Current of Eden Prairie. Community news leader for over 30 years. 2nd down and 8. Blake Matson is the quarterback. Got a couple of snaps at the end of last week's game as well. He must be a little excited, considering there was 4 quarterbacks at some point ahead of him on the depth chart now that he's moved up to the number 3 spot.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good opportunity for a guy in his position to get some playing time, just get your feet wet a little bit, feel what it feels like to be on a varsity football field. And that experience, no matter what the situation in the game, can be invaluable for future development.
And I guess able to not run any more plays. Time runs out. Eden Prairie victorious again in their home opener, 41-7 over Edina. What a performance by the Eagles. We'll come back for that Sun Current postgame show after this.
Stay current on what's going on in your local community. The Sun Current is a local community newspaper that serves several communities in the Southwest Metro, including Eden Prairie, Edina, and Bloomington. The Sun Current will keep you up to date with the latest comings and goings on your school board, city council, arts and entertainment, and community events. And make sure you check out their in-depth high school sports coverage featuring weekly articles on Eden Prairie, Edina, Jefferson, and Kennedy. From football and hockey to tennis and swimming, the Sun Current has your favorite team covered. Keep it local and visit the Sun Current website at current.mnsun.com.
Eden Prairie victorious again, the 32nd consecutive time, we can say that, as they knock off Edina 41-7. This is the Sun Current postgame show, brought to you by the Sun Current of Eden Prairie, your community news leader in the area for more than 30 years. You can find out the latest and greatest news, feature stories, and recaps like this game right here by going to current.mnsun.com. Started off a little bit slow the first couple of plays for Eden Prairie. Offensive penalties set them back inside their own 15-yard line on their first series of the game. But a touchdown on a play action call, 87 yards to Kyle Connolly, really set the stage for this one. From then on, Eden Prairie played almost perfect football. Edina, while they hung tough, for the first 12 or so minutes, got some things going, found a rhythm, moved the football into Eden Prairie territory. Couldn't ultimately capitalize, and then seemed to lose a lot of steam through the midway point of the game when they still had opportunities, just didn't come through. And a big credit is owed, of course, to this stout defensive team and defensive unit for Eden Prairie, but at the same time, Edina kind of just gave up, I think, too soon, and Eden Prairie ends up with a rout.
Yeah, you're right, Kevin. It was, you've seen kind of a common theme here from this Eden Prairie team in that these teams come in, you got to be really fired up to play against a team as good as Eden Prairie. And you see these teams come in on a high note and they hang with them for a quarter or so, or maybe 2 quarters if they really put on a good fight. But eventually I think that Eden Prairie defense kind of feels out what they're doing offensively and just starts to shut them down. And that's when teams really fold it up, because you just get demoralized and you can't get a first down. You can't stop their run game on the other side of the ball, and it just gets tough and becomes kind of a war of attrition. They just lean on you and wear you down, and eventually it comes out ahead for Eden Prairie. So kind of a business as usual game for them tonight.
You gotta love the way always Mike Grant, though, coming into seasons, underplays things. In some interviews preseason, it's like, well, we didn't have much time to practice, got a lot of new players at skill positions. People are going to beat us. It'll probably be early. And they've had 2 mid-season form type performances in weeks 1 and 2 against very quality opponents.
Yeah. Well, that just goes to show you can say whatever you want to say, but what's really going on is can be something completely different, which we saw tonight. So
yeah. Another great effort by the quarterback, Jackson Zog. A touchdown pass, 4 attempts, had his first pass incompletion of the season. That was really the highlight, if you will, because he was in form tonight. Kyle Connolly on point, making 2 catches for over 125 yards and scoring the lone passing touchdown of the game. Alec Hetherington led the way in the rushing attack, rushed for about 80 yards on 21 carries and scored the football 3 times. We appreciate you all for tuning in tonight. For Kevin Ford, Brett Johnson, Dr. Grant Norland, we say have a good weekend. So maybe go out and enjoy the State Fair. But that's it here from Aries Stadium in Eden Prairie. The Eagles, winners over Edina 41-7. Good night.
Thanks for tuning in to live, local, play-by-play coverage of tonight's game. Catch all the action all season long on your home for Southwest Metro Sports, PSB Media. Tonight's game was brought to you by The Mulch Store, Brandy Warmbier's State Farm Insurance Office, Athlete PT, Noodles & Company of Eden Prairie, The Sun Current, The Tavern on 4 and 5, and in partnership with Minnesota Football Magazine and BEC TV. You can find an archived broadcast of tonight's game available 24/7 on PSBMN.com.